Hello, I'm Lisa Bien, and welcome to Bouncing Back. Self-esteem is the one topic I think we cannot cover enough. We're taught math, reading, and English, but who teaches us how to love who we are and become the best versions of ourselves? Today, we're talking about self-esteem and the impact it has when you accomplish a personal goal, and about what it takes to build a positive image of yourself, whether you succeed or fail. Let's get started. Hello, I'm Lisa Bien, and welcome to Bouncing Back.
God makes a way.
Be honest and communicate.
Your authentic self.
That's so critical. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Bouncing Back from Self-Esteem. Let's welcome our guest, Jullian Taylor. Jullian is a senior and football player here at Temple University. Before joining the Owls, he developed a powerful sense of individualism. When he joined the team, he realized that he could inspire people, which helped build his self-esteem more than any ideal or athletic accomplishment. Being part of a team helped him grow, develop, and see the value he had for others, not just for himself. Thank you, Jullian, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Our next guest is Monica Williams. Monica Williams has a BA in psychology and an MA in counseling. She has worked as a mental health counselor in the fields of sexual abuse and addiction for years. Today, she's a life coach and a network marketer. Over the years, she's helped so many people by sharing her insights on the complex nature of how our ability to relate to ourselves. Monica, it's my pleasure to have you join us today. So, first of all, full disclosure, I love Jullian. He's been my student for a few semesters, and he has shared his story with me. So when we were talking about self-esteem and the confidence in the show, Jullian stepped up and said, I'd love to be on the show.
Yeah.
So for people who are watching the show right now, tell us your story.
So it all started in middle school. I was in the 10th grade, and I wasn't really doing anything active. I was kind of like a video game player.
Sounds like my son.
You know? So one day I decided to join or try out for the varsity baseball team. So my dad, he bought me all the fancy baseball. I got the mitt, the cleats, and like during the tryout, I wasn't prepared at all. I didn't have any confidence. You know, my dad said, you know, if you want to do something, you have to go in 100%. So going to 11th grade, in the 12th grade, I tried out for the football team at my first high school, and I wanted to be a quarterback. I seen Cam Newton. That was the year he was at Auburn, and he was so
Well,
glorious.
Thomas,
I loved him.
you've got pre-diabetes.
So much fame and attention.
But with more
I
exercise
thought,
and a change in
man, he
diet.
just strapped up, and he went and did his job, and it was that easy. But of course not, and I learned my lesson there again. So this is 2013, this summer. I at least enrolled in like 10 summer camps, and just doing that and just being consistent with, you know.
How old were you, Jullian? I'm sorry.
At this time, I was 18.
So you were 18 and you
Yes.
were just enrolling in summer camps to be consistent in football?
Yes,
Okay.
just to try it, because I never played like prior to this. I never went through a full season of football. So I'm just going off of raw ability. I'm a tall guy, long. So I'm just going off of like what I see on TV. And so going through those camps and developing as a player and getting confidence through those camps and learning and listening and having like mentors, I ended up having a successful senior year in high school. And coming to Temple, I of course wasn't, you know, all the way mature.
Mm-hmm.
So of course it was trials and tribulations. And my freshman, sophomore year, I still didn't know what it was to really work hard and actually prepare.
You're saying some great things,
Yeah.
right? 18 years old, he's never played football before. He decides he's going to go all in, and I love what your dad said. Your dad said if you're going to do something, go all in and do it well, right?
Yes.
What a powerful message, right? To
Yeah.
go all in. So you're 18, you're at summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
Now you come to Temple, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you make the team,
Yes.
and it changes your.
It really changed. I really thought it was just me all the time, but it really changed me from having like an individualistic mindset to like really having like a community mindset, and just like being a mentor to people, because they see, even like younger guys on the team, say I'm a junior and they're freshmen just coming in, they see me working hard, see me, doing good things on the field. My self-value just goes up because I see that I can impact people, and touch people. So
is that common that we see that people have difficulty, low self-esteem, low self-worth, and then they join a team and they feel better about themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like what you said before about like seeing Cam Newton and, he had like all the fame and glory, but then like kind of learning on like another lesson from that it's not about that. It's not about the fame and glory comes from when you are like doing something you love and being a part of something else and affecting other people. And yeah, I mean, when you're a part of a team, it's not just about you, and it's not just about your own personal success or, again, getting that like attention and fame. It really is about being a part of something bigger than yourself, and it gives you that like worth that is beyond just you. You know that you matter and that you're important to the people around you and to like a bigger goal. And that's why, we see the famous players and they're getting fame and glory because they're doing what they love and what they're good at, and they're doing it with other people. And whenever they give their speeches, they always say, I wouldn't be able to do this without my teammates. It's not about me, it's about my teammates. That's what my coach is. It's about what we all did together, and we worked hard for this, and we put in the work. And you always say that, always. It's never just about themselves.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Well, what I think is interesting too, though, I think it's a really interesting conversation that we should talk about a little bit, is they did the hard work.
Yes.
And I think that what happens for athletes or anybody really, we want to do something, we want to be the best at it the minute we do it, right?
Yes.
Nobody wants to work hard anymore. Everybody, you looked at Cam Newton and you said, okay, I want to be as good as Cam Newton, but you knew that there was a level of hard work.
Yes.
My 13-year-old son does what you do. He plays video games. He's, and he wants to be a professional baseball player. We'll get out there and do the work, right? But then what happens is that a lot of times people go out for the team, or we'll change it for the cheer team, whatever, and they don't make it because they didn't do the hard work, and it depletes them, right?
Yes.
Yeah. In your introduction, you mentioned how we respond to success and failure, and even sometimes those words are hard because if we think of ourselves as like making mistakes versus even failing, because we do have to work hard, we have to put in the effort, and along the way we're gonna mess up. It's inevitable. So being able to look at that differently and know that if we work hard, we can achieve our goals. And if we are able to take feedback and make changes and adjust, and that it doesn't have to just be about, oh, I tried once and I failed. Like we're trying to change that mindset into, being able to grow and move. And
you said something about taking feedback, though. I think what's important to discuss also is when you're looking to build your self-esteem, who do we take the feedback from? I think is a really important thing to talk about, because you want to be a professional football player.
Yes.
You want to take advice from somebody who's been there, done that, and someone who you respect, not somebody who wants to maybe hold you back, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I would ask you, as you learned about being part of the team and getting better and improving, who did you get feedback from? Who did you listen to?
So the coaches, my teammates and coaches, were big, in the mentorship. So whether it was somebody that was a year or two older than me, they always held me accountable.
Yes.
And so did the coaches. They held me accountable on, and more importantly, off the field, because that's where everything goes on 95% of the time.
Yeah.
So it was, to this day, I still get mentored by my coaches. I still have players that I look up to and that still give me advice. And it works.
Yep.
And I didn't see that when I was younger, like a freshman, that what they were doing for me. I thought they were just heckling me or just trying to ignore me. But
so that can backfire too for somebody who goes out to play on a team and they don't make that team, or they're on the team but they don't get that proper role model.
Yeah.
Right? That can really hurt your self-esteem.
Absolutely. I think it's a mature thing, because it's people that have been on the team and who aren't on the team today. Just because of that, they couldn't take the advice, or, they couldn't withstand the level of accountability that we're enabling them on. So, it depends on who's really mentoring that person, how you relate to that person. Not everybody's going to listen to you, but they might listen to, my teammate Adrian or my teammate Sharif, So it depends. It depends who the person is.
Yeah.
I think everybody should at least try to reach out to the person and see who clicks. And if they don't, then I think it's something that the coaches have to go into.
So Jullian's lucky, right? Jullian got on the football team. He's found his self-worth. His goal is that he's going to make it. So anybody wants to pick him up, he's going to be available in a year.
Yeah.
So his goal is to make the professional football, right? He wants to be a professional football player. And God willing, I hope that happens for you. But let's take it another step for somebody who doesn't have a football team. Yeah. Someone's watching the show right now and they're saying, I have very low self-worth.
Right.
I don't feel good about myself. First of all, can you define for the audience the difference between self-worth and self-esteem?
Yes, it's very tricky. It's very tricky. It's very tricky. There's a lot of words and a lot of definitions out there. But for me, it comes down to I would say self-worth is about my worth as like a human being. That regardless of what I'm doing in the world, successes, failures, achievements, setbacks, being successful in one area or another, depending, everything changes in life. But regardless of all of that I have inherent worth as a human being. And that never changes. That I am worthy of love and acceptance and being a part of the world and being a part of something. And then I would say self-esteem is more about the words like confidence, competence, respect for myself and others, and being actively a part of something in the world. And so it's so important clearly to have both of them. We need to have both, because sometimes our self-esteem, like you said, it does waver. Sometimes we go out for the football team and we might work hard and we might listen, but it still doesn't work out. And so then we need to maybe go try something else that we're good at.
Perfect. So we're going to take a break here and we're going to continue our conversation about bouncing back into positive self-esteem, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're talking about bouncing back into positive self-esteem. So we are talking about self-esteem and self-worth. And it's interesting because I think people use it so interchangeably, self-worth and self-esteem. So now I want to spend some time talking about how do we develop that? How do we create good self-esteem? How do you, or self-worth? It took me years to get both. It's not easy, right? How did you get it, other than football?
For self-esteem, and self-worth, just how I carry myself, and just how I see how I impact people. Just the way I do, how I care for my teammates or my friends, or if I had a girlfriend, or do everybody that I come in communication with. That's how I measure my self-worth and how positive it is. And for my self-esteem, outside of football, it's just knowing that everybody's a human and nobody's perfect. That's what does it for me.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that
Julie,
too.
and I always loved you, but now I'm freaking Say that again. That was so beautiful.
Oh, that remembering that everyone is human and nobody's perfect.
Everyone is human and nobody's perfect,
Yes.
and that is great. And I think something else that you said is really important too, is to remain positive. If we have a positive outlook on life and we wake up in the morning and we think positive, we're going to have what? Positive day, right? We'll be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they talk a lot these days about the power that we have to create our day and to feel how we want to feel. And it can be more difficult than it sounds. But if we practice it just like anything else, then we will get good at it. So if we practice looking at the positive things, the things we're doing well, the successes that we have, the people that we're affecting and sharing love with, and people that we respect and what we're a part of, rather than always focusing on the things maybe we think we did wrong, then that will increase our self-esteem just by doing that. And that doesn't even account for like on a given day, the things you do well and the people that you do hang out with, which I think is also really important. You want to spend your time with people who are able to, like you kept talking about people holding you accountable, but giving you positive feedback. So people can give us constructive criticism without being mean or judgmental or critical. And I think sometimes people get stuck there. They think they have to tell you that what you did was wrong and that you should feel bad about it. But the mindset should really be what's going well, and then how can I improve what isn't going well? And just being that way, thinking that way, and being around people who also think and act that way does a great deal for our confidence and our ability to move forward in life.
So we talked a lot about being part of a team, you know, and that can help us with our self-confidence. And then we're spending time talking about the people we hang out with. Can really help our self-confidence. Okay, so there's a lot of external factors. You know, we have social media now that can kill you and, you know, your self-esteem. You're always comparing yourself. And then there's all these filters that people are using on pictures, right? So there's a lot out there that can impact our self-esteem, positive and negative, okay?
Yes.
But let's spend some time talking about going inward. I think it's really important that we go inwards. And how do we do that?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you there's somebody watching the show right now. They're saying, oh yeah, it's really easy. Wake up, be happy, positive self-esteem.
Right.
Doesn't work that way, right?
Yes. Well, this is my favorite thing to talk about, so I will try to be
Good,
concise.
so we only have about 15 minutes.
Right. But it's true. We get very stuck in what's happening outside of us, and again, those successes and those failures, what other people think, if other people are judging us, we get stuck externally. So what we really need to do is bring our focus inward. Like literally stop paying attention to everything else out there, the people, the things, the media, all of it, the social media, I mean, and go inward and see what is going on. So I know that people are talking a ton these days about mindfulness and meditation and self-reflection and all of that. And the reason is because if you don't stop paying attention to everything outside and start paying attention to what's going on inside, then you really have no idea what is happening. How do you really feel? How do you really think? Why are you making the choices that you're making? And what you think, what you feel, and the choices that you're making, meaning like your behaviors, are the things that are going to directly affect your self-esteem in the world. So again, by going inward, seeing what's really happening with yourself, is where you create that space to do something different if you need to. And so I know you mentioned at one point trying to overcome the things that have brought us down and overcome the issues that have, hurt our self-esteem.
Yeah, there's a lot of people trying to tell us who we are,
Yes.
right, or who we should be. Yeah. Like if you go on Facebook and just in 5 minutes, you're scrolling, and we all do it. I was out the other day. I was at a restaurant. I was watching. Everybody was scrolling, right?
Yep.
So how do we get to know ourselves? I don't think people take enough time to be alone and capture who they are, right?
Exactly. I feel like the first rule is to never compare yourself to anybody else. That's when, envy and jealousy, I think, comes into a factor. Even though you might not see it, but being envious, I think, is like kind of like being jealous because, I wish I was in your position. Because like if you're looking at someone on social media, like you said, people get to paint like certain personas of themselves.
Yes.
And you really don't know like what's going on.
I was having lunch the other day with somebody, right? And I said to her, wow, your friend so-and-so really has it all. She has a great life. She's like, oh my God. She said, she's miserable.
Yeah.
I said, but you can never tell from
never
her
tell.
social media
Exactly.
status.
Right.
She's always, perfect family. So nobody has that perfect life. And you really shouldn't be looking at other people's life. So that's rule number one for you. I like that rule.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. Which goes back to what you said too about everyone's a human being, and we all have this inherent self-worth. Right. And when we tap into that, when we step away from the outside world and other people and the comparing, and we really tap into that level of self-love and self-acceptance and self-worth that is there for all of us as human beings, then we don't need to do that. Then we need to do that even less because we're already receiving those good feelings and that sense of well-being and that sense of purpose and acceptance and love again. And we don't have to do things on the outside world to get those feelings because we already have them within us just by being who we are. Yeah.
Right.
I think it's interesting too what you just said. You said acceptance and love.
Yeah.
I think those two words are really important.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how people use the word love so loosely, or they love others,
Right.
but they can't be kind and love themselves. So,
Right.
I think there has to be a certain level of your love. You have to love who you are first.
Yes.
Take time, right?
Right. And I think with that, everybody's special. Everybody has their gift. And I think when they find that, it's on them to accept it.
It's another great point.
I know. I love it.
I love this guy. So you're saying that find your gift, find out what you're really good at.
I thought I was a baseball player, and then I ended up playing football. So it's really.
Well, I think that's an interesting point, Jullian. I think that's excellent. And I know you're kind of laughing about it, but I think you thought you wanted to be a baseball player.
Yes.
Somehow you thought, and you were convinced. Now, had you not been open and flexible to something else,
Right.
you could have said, you know what, I'm not a baseball player. I'm done.
I'm done. And luckily, I pursued football, and I had a successful outcome. But it just wasn't baseball. I thought I was a tennis player. It was really trials and tribulations. So I'm just happy I was one, to sacrifice.
You sound like you had some good role models in your life, even as a young adult.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes.
So who inspired you the most to have this wonderful self-esteem that you have?
I say my father, because growing up he was always so confident, and once again I thought like he woke up like that, but
I love that too. Once again he woke up and he thought,
No.
Jullian, you want to change spots?
I know.
He's so good, right? But it's true. I think that's an excellent point too. I think that we all think that people walking around, I remember being a college student here myself at Temple, and you're looking around and you think, well, they're smarter than me. Right. They got it all together. Oh, look at them. They're taking notes. I guess I better take notes. Right. And then sometimes you're like, well, why are they taking notes? There's really nothing, you know what I mean? But like, you're right. It's just really this knowing who you are and knowing that everybody goes through at some time or another in their life with bad self-esteem or self-worth.
Yeah.
Right.
That's hard, right?
Yeah.
What are some good pointers you want to give us to share? I'm putting you on the spot.
No. I mean, it's exactly what you said, that you walk into the room and the first thing you do is you look around and you see what everyone else is doing, and are they doing it better than you, and are you doing it right, and what should you be doing, and what are they doing? And that's just that chatter of like our external focus. We're obsessed with what's going on out there, and how can we get approval from other people, and how can we do what's right and what's good enough so that other people will see us that way as right and good enough. So again, it comes back to looking inward, coming inward, really being able to take that time of self-reflection, knowing thyself. Again, whether there's all different ways you can meditate, even just I mentioned the mindfulness that's all about paying attention to what's happening right here and right now, and really paying attention to my thoughts and my feelings and what I'm doing. And then I think we also mentioned earlier the mindset, being able to change, like we are conditioned to look at what's wrong. That's sort of how we grow up. So being able to change that, and it doesn't happen overnight, but same thing as getting good at a particular sport. You have to practice. So the more we practice seeing what's right in the moment, and tapping into those feelings of love and acceptance, the more we will feel that way on an ongoing basis, and the more we will feel well, and we will feel happy, and we will feel love, and the less we will need to focus externally to receive those feelings, if that makes sense.
Oh, it totally makes sense. I always say that there's that negative chatter. We all hear it, and you have to choose every day.
Yes.
You have to choose every day what kind of chatter you want to listen to. You want to listen to the negative chatter, or you want to listen to the positive chatter. But we're going to wrap it up. So I just want to thank my guests, Jullian Taylor and Monica Williams, for sharing their experiences and their insights. We can't always be happy, right? But we can always stop the bad things that happen to us and to the people we care about. However, we can make choices about who we choose, how we choose to approach life, and what we choose to dwell upon. Adopting a philosophy of gratitude helps us to focus on what is working in life. And if we build ourselves up with positive relationships and attitudes, we can use them to help us bounce back from what is standing between us and the happiness we desire. Once again, I'm Lisa Bien, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Bouncing Back. Hello, I'm Lisa Bien, and welcome to Bouncing Back.
That makes a way.
Be honest and communicate.
Be your authentic self.
That's so critical.